If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Caneswear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
All righty, we are ready to rock and roll with the Caneswear Miami Hurricanes Report. We do it twice a week here, and the beauty is we will now have football to talk about coming up now, because we've been doing it twice a week with no football pretty much, Manny, and we've done a pretty good job overall, I got to say. Right?
Lots of
Can you hear me?
right? I mean, we've figured out how to bring along the Canes conversation.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
Man,
we have.
I am going to be able to actually report what I see tonight, because we are getting to watch. The media is getting to watch the entire practice tonight from beginning to.
Obviously, shorts, helmets, no pads, no Brett Lashley trick plays, I'm sure. But we'll get a chance to watch the whole thing, which is cool. Usually we get one a year. And I'll take it, especially after not watching anything at all last year.
I'm with you there. And again, I got to tell you, dude, I am just simply amazed. This kid blew out his knee December 29th, and he's going to be on the practice field tonight, practicing fully with the team. If he does do that, practicing fully with the team, that's incredibly impressive on the medical side and on the human side of it.
It is, and you think about everything else De'Aaron King dealt with last year, his father dying, his mom dealing with cancer. I mean, there are a lot of reasons for this kid to emotionally self-destruct after tearing his knee, like in the last game of the season. And yet, here he is, still leading his team back after 8 months and ready to roll, man. I mean, I think as long as he stays smart with it, he doesn't push himself too hard, in meaningless practices, because let's face it, he knows the offense. What is he? I mean, other than just getting a chance to throw to his receivers, what is he really getting out of this? I think as long as he's smart and he's ready for September 4th, then it's a victory for Miami.
Now, I know that the coaches now have less practices, 21 to 18,
Yep.
And then the full padded practices are down to 9 now. What have coaches told you about those limitations and how much it hurts them in their preparation for the season? I understand everybody's on the same schedule, so everybody has the same limitations. But because it's so condensed, how much more difficult is it for these coaches to get these players prepared for the season?
Well, I think you're in a situation where I think if you had new offensive coordinators, new defensive coordinators, new systems to install, I think you're at a disadvantage. But Miami's got the same coordinator. They've got the same coaches for the most part. Manny Diaz is his defensive system. So I don't think there's any sort of okay, Miami's in trouble here. I think, obviously coaches would love to have the extra practice time, love to have the extra padded practices to help develop the younger players. But let's face it, today's world of college football, they don't really worry about developing players until the spring. They got to win. All these coaches under so much pressure. The best guys are going to play, and if the best guys are hurt and they're not on the field, that's the kind of perfect excuse, right? Well, we didn't have our best players; they were hurt. So I think for them, all that preparation, all that time that they spend investing teaching, I think that happens in the spring, that happens over the summer, that happens during the offseason. I think now it's go time, and it's just making sure you're ready for Alabama on September 4th.
Manny Navarro joining us for the Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report. Of course, you can follow Manny on Twitter and follow him because tonight he'll be tweeting like a madman at Manny_Navarro as he covers it. And I got to say, a real benefit for these coaches is they're not going to show the depth chart till they get to, Alabama or the week of Alabama, and keeping the depth chart out of the mix over the next couple of weeks. Man, that's got to help that transfer portal. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, it really does. And Manny Diaz, I touched on it in my latest article, but Manny Diaz basically told me that 2 years ago when they opened the season against Florida, week 0, they put out the depth chart, and immediately within hours, schools were calling to try to get N'Kosi Perry to transfer. And so, that's the deal now. Coaches have to be smart about sharing information, not only because, other schools are going to try to poach, but the kids too, right? If a kid knows, hey, I'm third team or whatever in the eyes of the coaches, I'm gonna bolt. So I think, it's one of those deals where the information is not going to be coming out the way fans want it to in that broad sense. We'll tell you because we'll know. We'll be there covering the team. But if you want an official depth chart, yeah, that information will not be shared publicly.
There you go. Manny Navarro broke up a little bit there. I got you. All right, so this is a tough question because I don't know if you even have the answer for it. I don't even know how honest they're going to be with you. What's the percentage of players vaccinated, and how much of that is a concern? Because obviously if players that aren't vaccinated, they're going to put people at risk. We know what the NFL is doing with, all of that and the kind of repercussions that come from all of that. How is that being handled on the college side?
Well, listen, Miami's certainly stressing to its players that they need to get vaccinated. And, I reported this in Charlotte 2 weeks ago. Manny Diaz said he thought they were going to get to the 85% threshold by the first practice. And that was because a lot of guys were in between shots. They had taken the first one, but were waiting to get the second one. So as far as full vaccination, I think they're on the precipice of getting to that 85% threshold, which the NFL uses for its players. So I think for the most part, the guys who aren't taking it are the guys who really, are trying to stand on their principles or their thought process for why they wouldn't do it. But I think for the most part, a lot of the guys that I've spoken to, Nessa Silvera, obviously De'Aaron King, they've all been vaccinated. And I think for the most part, there's nobody key on this team. Key member that has not been vaccinated.
Well, okay, you broke up towards the end there. You think that there's no key member on the team that isn't vaccinated, is what you're saying?
Unvaccinated, yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you're saying there's no key member that's unvaccinated, is what you're saying? Because it broke up again. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure.
Correct.
We're having a funky connection. Okay, correct. All right, good stuff. All right, follow him on Twitter, by the way.
Manny. That's the deal. Yep.
Okay. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. The running back by committee, is that what it's going to be? Cameron Harris, I love watching him play. He's a blue-collar kid, but he does have his limitations. Chaney, Knighton, will it be committee, or are they hoping somebody busts out and becomes the guy?
Yeah, I think there's no question Rhett Lashley wants somebody to become the guy. You look back at the averages of these guys last season, they weren't great. You didn't have many big, long, explosive runs. And a guy like Cam Harris, after his back-to-back 134-yard performances to start the season, he only had one more 100-yard game after that. So I think individually, yes, Rhett Lashley wants one horse to emerge. But in the end, if it's two horses and they're just sharing it and they're both effective, then that's the way it'll be. But I think, he definitely wants one consistent guy who's going to take the bulk of the carries. And if he stays hot, he stays hot.
Well, I just want you to know that we have somebody right now on the chat board. He says, some guy just cut me off. I think it was Manny. So are you cutting people off right now on the highway, bro? Is that what's going on? Because, we got people here.
That's what's happening here.
You're cutting people off now? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, that's me.
As somebody says,
in my red Ferrari here,
as Pat in Asheville goes, this segment is sponsored by FaceTime and the Florida Turnpike. And I want you to know it's not FaceTime, it's StreamYard, okay? We use StreamYard here, not FaceTime.
StreamYard,
right?
StreamYard, yeah.
StreamYard and the Turnpike.
That's right.
There you go. As Manny works his way down to Coral Gables and gets ready to cover the team. Defensive ends, bro. They lost a lot of them, right? And so what's going to happen, because the DeAndre Johnson kid from Tennessee has got 10 sacks in 41 games. That's not necessarily impressive. So who are they counting on? Because we watched Quincy Roche, by the way, pick up a sack yesterday for the Steelers in the preseason game. That's if you watch that abortion of a game, but whatever. Yep. But kudos to Roche there. That is the one position that I'm really concerned about on the defensive side, because, dude, they lost 3 monsters. And how do you replace 3 monsters? You know what I'm saying?
Well, you hope that Jess Simpson is the guy who has the magic elixir, and he just pours whatever he needs to pour on the guys that they have, and all of a sudden they turn into Jalen Phillips and Gregory Rousseau. I agree with you. I think that's one of the bigger concerns on this team is, how do you replace Phillips? How do you replace Quincy Roche, who not only were very good, but they played a lot. Like, they were on the field for a bunch of snaps. And so I think, if you're Miami, you're hoping that Jafari Harvey, you're hoping DeAndre Johnson, you're hoping Zach McLeod, the converted linebacker, that those 3 guys, somebody emerges into an absolute stud so that defenses have to pay attention to them. And I think you're also hoping that Nesta Silvera and Jared Harrison Hunt, your defensive tackles that can get to the quarterback, that those guys develop into studs so that they get a lot of attention, and that helps make things easier for Jafari Harvey and Chance Williams and all the young guys that they have on this roster.
With Bubba Bolden as the only returning starter that made it to the preseason All-ACC team, are we?
Him and Lou Hadley.
No, but on the defense. On the defense, I'm saying.
Right.
So, and listen, over the years, we've always been spoiled with plenty of defensive players being on all-conference type teams. Is that something that's motivating guys at all? Because Bubba's the only one that's getting that love, and maybe other guys want to be on that kind of a stage. Is that a carrot that dangles for some of these cats?
Well, I think getting drafted, right? Having people talk about you as one of the best in the country at your position, I think that carries more weight than ACC honors. But when those teams come out, players sure get pissed when they don't see their name on the list. So, yes, I think there's always that carrot to dangle. But I think the bigger deal is for guys like Nesta Silvera, who I think could have come out last year and been a 5th or 6th round type pick at defensive tackle. But he thinks he's the best defensive tackle in the country, is what he told me when I ran into him a little more than a week ago. He said, I'm the best. I'm the best player on this defense. I'm the best defensive tackle in the country. So for him, I think those kind of things do matter. But I think in the long run, Manny Diaz is trying to tell these guys, hey, you know what? You got your asses handed to you by North Carolina last year. You look terrible in a few games stopping the run. Like, collectively as a group, all of you guys need to get better. And I think right now, from talking to the players, it's more about, hey, we don't want to get embarrassed like that again. I think that is a bigger motivation, that and getting the NFL, than any ACC preseason team.
All right, so I'm asking you about the All-ACC team. One of our listeners wants to know, who is the next top 10 pick that the Canes will have in the NFL draft?
Great question. I think it could be Jay Garcia. I think it could be Leonard Taylor, and I think it could be Williams, the safety that they picked up. I think all 3 of those guys have the potential to be, elite NFL players. They've got the ingredients in my mind.
Who's the freshman that that maybe most of us may be not looking at, and you're thinking this guy could be actually making an impact as a freshman this year for the Miami Hurricanes? Who is it?
Well, the safety position is interesting. I think the linebacker position is interesting. Those are areas where I think you could have a third safety sort of emerge, a guy like Cameron Kitchens, who was part of the spring, and he looked pretty good out there to me. I think he's a guy you got to look out for as emerging as the third safety behind Bolden and Hall. And then the linebacker spot, I know he played some last year, but he's still technically a freshman. Corey Flagg, he played 200 snaps or whatever last year. I think he's a guy who is going to probably be the starting middle linebacker. And then, of course, Borregales, who's going to be the kicker. I think those kind of guys are going to be the ones that make some level of impact on this team this year.
Good stuff as always. Make sure you follow him on Twitter, Manny_Navarro. Also, I encourage you to subscribe to The Athletic. He does a phenomenal job of covering the Miami Hurricanes. You get your local coverage, you get your national coverage on The Athletic. And again, follow him on Twitter right here and catch him twice a week with our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes reports every Tuesday and every Friday right here on the program. Manny, as always, you're a stud, my brother. Thank you for taking some time. Always appreciate it, my friend. Enjoy the practice tonight that you're finally being let in. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes, baby. Yes, we get to watch, finally.
Yeah.
Talk to you, brother.
Football. You got it, baby. Be good. There you go. The great Manny Navarro. Good stuff there, as always. That is our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes reports. Love it. Good stuff with Manny. And, of course, it is what's it called? It's football season, man. It's awesome that we finally have it here. Manny's ready to go. We're going to give you great coverage, wall-to-wall coverage with the Canes. And he'll have the reports here twice a week. So I am definitely looking forward to having Manny here on the show.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.